Hello. Today I am going to talk you through an introduction to one of the really cool software programs that we're going to be using for online sciences. It doesn't matter which science class you're in, it's going to be used in both of them. Right now, what you're looking at is a screenshot of what Blackboard will look like if you are in my physical science class. It's very similar to what it looks like if you're in my biology class, so a couple of things aren't quite the same because I haven't fixed them up yet, but they're pretty close to each other. When you get into Blackboard, if you go to this link here, this class information link, it might be called course information in biology, but I will make sure that they both have the same name before school starts, or right shortly after school starts. So if you go to class information, a screen like this will show up. It will have the course schedule and syllabus in it. It will also have this thing called Next Gen Inquiry How-To videos. The Next Gen Inquiry is the second site that we are going to use a lot this year. We'll do assignments in it. We'll do lab reports in it. It's a really cool way to chunk some information and allow you to input some information along the way. NextGen has produced a ton of how-to videos that I would like you to watch before school starts. If you go to nextgeninquiry.org, that is the website that we'll be using. If you click on the title, Next Gen Inquiry How-To Videos, it will take you directly to that link. So for example, if we go ahead and click here, it takes us to this playlist. And it's how you get into the student journal. And it's a quick start guide. There are 4 of them. It is very well done. So again, go ahead and watch these before class starts on Monday. And they will always be available, so you can always go back and check them out again if you need to, if you get lost. Next Gen Inquiry has done a great job about putting together some really important information on these videos. So this next one is Introduction to Student.desmos. Another thing that's super important in science classes, obviously, is graphing. And especially in the physical science class, we do a ton of graphing during the first semester. Biology, it's spread out more because we're looking at different things. But in the physical science, we do a ton of it. So what I want to do is I want to go through this quick little demo on how to use Student Desmos. You will be making an account on Student Desmos that will help you throughout the year. And the way that works is if you don't make an account on Student Desmo, you can still use it, you can still do your work, but you have to do all of your assignments at once, no breaks, and you can't get back to that work later to use it. Since we're going to be doing a lot of assignments there, you're going to want to be able to get back to Student Desmos. So you're going to want to create an account so that you can sign in and then go ahead and enter the class code so that you can always have access and be able to come back and forth to the assignments, because you'll be able to use some of that information on tests, and on other cases you're going to want to be able to go back to review with it. So the way that it's going to work is you will come to the class content page when we're in session, and it will give you an assignment like it does here, Introduction to Student.desmos. If that's the assignment that you're supposed to be doing, it's just read the directions underneath it. Click on the title of this assignment and enter the class code of JY3X to try out student.desmos.com. That class code will change for every assignment. I'm going to go ahead and do this and walk you through how to do this, and then I highly recommend that you check this out yourself as well before school starts so that you are familiar with the tools. And again, Desmos has an amazing amount of resources available if you get stuck, if you need help, if you want to do other stuff on it as well. So let's do that. Let's get started. So I'm going to click on the title. It opens in a new page. I'm not going to I'm not going to sign up for an account right now. I'm just going to enter the class code. So it was, I don't know, I forgot. That's why I have it open in another page. It is JY3X. All right, JY3X. It does not matter whether you do it capitalized or not. I just tend to. So I'm going to say join the class. And then welcome screen will come up. It will tell you the assignment that you're in, introduction to student.desmos.com, and it gives you the option to sign in or to continue without signing in. I'm going to continue without signing in. Like I said, you're going to want to sign in. You're going to want to come back to this later, create an account, and then sign in with that. But for this demo, I'm going to continue without signing in. So now it's asked to enter your name. Please use your first name and last initial for your name on this, because then when I look at your work, I will be positive that I know who it is. So I am Mrs. Thompson, and I'm going to say go. So what happens is a series of screens show up. It's sort of like a interactable, I don't know if that's a word. It's sort of like PowerPoint that is interactive. So I'm just going to send you through or walk you through 4 different things that we are going to be able to do with Desmos. This first one is to practice drawing. Using the pencil icon on the left, draw a picture of a pumpkin. Change the colors of your pen and draw a face on your pumpkin. When you finish, press the right arrow to continue on. So here's my pencil icon over here, and I want my pumpkin to be orange. So I'm going to change my pen color already to be orange by hitting that blue circle, and I'm going to make him orange. Then I'm going to say, all right, I want a pencil. Now you're going to see my true artistic abilities. All right, so there's my pumpkin. Let's give him some of those, you know, pumpkins always have those stripy things on them. And then it says change colors of your pen and draw a face. Okay, I'm going to make my face black because oftentimes you cut it out and then it looks black. So let's see. And notice that the pen that you're writing with while you're pressing down is thin but then gets thicker. You're going to need to keep that in mind in your sketches and in your drawings so that you make your sketches large enough to see the details so the pen doesn't come over it. Now if I don't like my nose, I can take my eraser and I can click on the nose. Notice that it erases everything in that area, not just the nose itself. But that's okay. So now I have a space so I can cut out my pumpkin nose, and then here's his mouth. All right, that's a beautiful pumpkin. Since I'm done with it, I'm going to press the right arrow to continue. Ooh, now we get to graph. One of the super cool things about Desmos, desmos.com itself is an unbelievably powerful online graphing calculator. Student Desmos allows me as the teacher to give you these options of a simplified graph and some data to plot. Now, we're going to plot some data. Most of the time when I give you a graph, I will not put numbers on the axes. For this one, it appears that I made a mistake with my axes and my data. So this is why I don't usually put numbers on your axes so you can figure out how to do that. But I want to plot my points, draw the line of best fit using the line tool. So I'm just going to ignore this last set of points right here, this 8, 12, because I can't go up 12. So 0, 0 is there, and all I do is press down on the spot and it will make a dot. 2, 3, 4, 6, 6, 9. Okay, so now I want to put my line of best fit. I want to make sure that I can see my data points through my line. So I'm going to change my color to, say, red. I could change it to orange. I could change it to purple. Don't change it to black because you're not going to be able to see through it. But I'm going to change it to red. And then I'm going to use my line drawing tool, which is this middle tool here. And the way this works is you click where you want to start it, and then you draw. And I want the best fit line, so I'm going to say it goes to there. And now you see, because I picked a color that's lighter than my dots, I can see my best fit line. And it's beautiful. I'm done with my graph, so I'm going to move on to the third page. Now, this is another thing that makes Desmos super cool, especially for you biology students. I can input a picture, and then you can draw it. You can draw on it. You can describe it. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. So in this particular one, you need to give input. You need to give typed input. So whenever you see an input box like this here on the right, you can click on it and you can type right in it. So describe the photo on the left in 3 complete sentences. Okay, this is an amazingly awesome photo Mrs. Thompson took of a sunset. The sun is very bright in the center, and oops, we need 3 sentences. There are a few clouds in the sky. Now notice when you're done typing, and it acts just like a regular typewriter, just like the regular keyboard rather, when you're done typing, you have to click this Submit to Teacher. This tells the program that you are truly done typing. Whereas the other one, you can just move on and it'll assume that whatever you drew, you're done with. But here, because it's a typing program, you submit to teacher. Now, if you realize that you've made a mistake, you can go ahead and click here and edit response and it'll open up again. But once you submit it to teacher, that's sort of like your saving thing. If you don't submit to teacher, I will not be able to see your answer. Okay, next. Whoops. 4, practice math input. Fill in the chart to the left, write the mathematical relationship between the columns in the space below. So for this one, there's 2 different types of things I want you to do. The left-hand side here, you'll notice that once again, we have these options of drawing, making a line, erasing, and changing colors. Now, we have an example here. We have a table here. You can fill in the table. These squares are pretty small. So if you cannot write small enough to fill in those squares, then you can improvise a little bit. So let's see what it's talking about, and then I'll show you how you can improvise. Use the toothpick pattern below as a guide to complete the table. Okay, when we made 1 square, we used 4 toothpicks. 2 squares, 7 toothpicks. 3 squares, 10 toothpicks. So now you need to figure out, okay, so 4 squares, how many is that going to be? Well, it's going to be 13. Now, see how small I have to write there? If you can't write that small, just make a dot in there, say, like I said, in blue, and then write your answer down here in the same color. And then when you move on to the next one, change the color and put the dot, and then write your answer down here. Okay, that's fine with me as long as I know which number goes with which part of the screen. Okay, so I figured out my pattern, and now it says write the mathematical relationship between the columns in the space below. Well, okay, I'm not going to write the full correct equation in here. This is a math editor, and for those of you that have not used a math editor before, they're super cool because you can type and it will automatically transpose it into proper math terms. So for example, let's say that I think that the number of squares that you put in, and I want it squared. Let's say that I want the number of squares squared. So to do that on my keyboard, I do the up arrow, the caret, and it automatically on the computer raises it up to show that it's squared. Then I press my right arrow key and it will come back down again. So I've got s squared plus 32 equals the number of toothpicks t. And once again, when I'm done writing that equation, I can go ahead and say submit to teacher. And again, this is not the right equation, and I did not finish filling out this chart because I want you to go ahead and do this. But I submit to teacher, and I'm good to go. Now, the last thing I need to do is come to the last page. Oh, it says good job. The items you had to do in this introduction activity are similar to the ones you need to do in real assignments. If you have problems with student help.desmos.com and you're unable to get a hold of me for some reason, Desmos has a great help section and responds quickly to inquiries. So you can go ahead and ask them any questions you may have. So take a few minutes and go through this on your own. Sign in as a guest to do this, or go ahead and make your account first and then sign in to do it. And that will let me know that you've actually attempted this before class starts on Monday. Thanks and goodbye.